Good afternoon, everybody. Jim Warren with TXAPA. We are glad to have you here today. This is TXAPA Live. It is, Thursday the 27th, I believe, and excited to have you guys here today. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, welcome to TXAPA Live. Thank you for joining. This program is being recorded, and you will receive a link later on to the actual recording. So when you get it, please share it. We're trying to get this information out to as wide an audience as we can, and this is one way of doing it. We will be using the Go to Webcam feature to produce and put all this information out. So if all you see is a black screen and a little webcam on your screen, go ahead and double click on the bottom right-hand corner of that, and you will be able to make that size full size and see the rest of what's going on with us. And then so that should take you to this slide. Now that should pretty much be full screen, hopefully, on your program. So hopefully you can hear audio right now. Audio should be good. We're pumping it out, so hopefully you're hearing it. And the video screen should be up as well. Speaking of that, one of the things that we are asking you to do, and one of the opportunities you have today, is to ask questions. And there's a question box on the right-hand side of your screen. If you go ahead and type a question in there and hit send, that'll show up right in front of me, and I'll be able to read the question out to our panel, and they will be able to give you an answer. So let's give it a shot. Go ahead and type in the city that you are in right now. And we got Justin. Okay, thank you, Justin, from Dallas. And go ahead and just type in your city, and let's see who we've got out there today. People are still coming in. We got Rosenberg, Tehran. Okay, that's a long way away. Houston, San Antonio. Very good. Thank you, Frank. And I'm not going to try that name from Houston, but I appreciate you dialing in. So excellent job. So at least you guys are hearing us, and we're going getting it out there. Hey, we got another San Antonio. Thank you, Sam. We have got a great big announcement to give everybody. We have now migrated a lot of our materials to YouTube. And oops, I got a snow connection. That's not good. So hopefully that will not cause a problem. So now we are moving all our video projects and programs to YouTube. And Jenna Nyberg has been feverishly doing that over the last few days. So we want you to go to the YouTube channel and subscribe to the Texas Asphalt Pavement Association. And here's how to do it. If you go to YouTube and type in Texas Asphalt Pavement Association, and that will pop up a screen. You may have to scroll down just a little bit to see the TXAPA logo. And once you get there, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and that'll take you to our page, which is showing that Texas Rides on Us, and that's our brand new page. And as of yesterday, we had 8 subscribers. Now, Emily Adams, our marketing director, I've got a bet with her that she doesn't even know about, that if I can at least double or triple our subscribers by the end of the show, she's going to buy lunch for the whole crew on Friday. So, Emily, thank you for willing to do that, and we're excited about that. So go to YouTube. Hit subscribe, hit like, watch some of the videos, like and comment on them, and we will be extraordinarily glad to try to put more and more information out there. We've got some long form stuff out there. We've got some technical tips, which are short form, just a couple minutes long, and we're going to be pumping a lot more stuff out there over the next couple months and over the next couple years to really make that a place where you guys can hang out. But if you hit the subscribe button, then you'll get the notifications that when we put something up there, you'll actually get a notification that it's ready to be taken a look at. So that's a really great feature, really great feature. So all right, so got Weatherford and Vermont, Texas. Thank you, guys. All right, so today's lineup is we're going to start all our programs with the safety share, and we've got a panel from the Central Texas Regional Mobility Authority here. Today we've got Justin Word and Lloyd Chance. They're going to join us. And again, we're taking questions at any time during the program. So I'm going to turn it over to Chuck here, and let me get out of that. And Chuck, welcome.
Thank you.
we are ready to do our safety share. We're doing something a little bit different today.
Yeah, so this last week, we had a CPR training and fire extinguisher training here at our office, and we had everybody attend. And I just thought it was a really good program. We had a company from Hope, H-O-P-E, they're firefighters, and they come in and did a great presentation. So I thought, talking with Jim, I thought maybe that we could kind of talk about CPR, fire extinguisher training, and then Jim put together some questions, some poll questions that I thought were going to be pretty good to be able to utilize. But if you haven't had CPR and fire extinguisher training and first aid training, I suggest that you get certified or you get trained in it. It's imperative. You can save somebody's life. We know of several instances where that has happened. I myself utilized the Good Samaritan law during one of an incident that had happened, and it was through that training and that education that I was able to do that. So, Jim, if you would, let's do some polling questions, because I'd like to hear from the individuals that are out there if they actually know the answers to some of these questions that we learned during our CPR training Monday.
Absolutely. Oh, Emily just laughed on the screen. Okay, she sent me an internal chat. So at least Emily's watching today. All right, here's our first poll question. This poll question is going to pop up on your screen. Go ahead and click which response you think is the appropriate response. What does CAB stand for? Let's go ahead and launch the poll. And the poll is distributing, and hopefully it's still distributing, and it's out there. So I already got some answers. So, hey, while this is going on, I've done CPR, or I've done first aid CPR, infant CPR, the first aid training. This was a couple of years ago. I was at a restaurant at a little meeting and stuff, and something happened, and the grate fell off the wall and hit this lady's foot, split her foot right at the top, right open. And I didn't really know what was going on because it was at the other end of the room. And eventually I kind of like, I should probably go down there and check it out, and keep them coming in. And so I went down and checked out, and yeah, she's got a gash about, 2 inches long on the top of her, the soft part of the foot. And so and everybody just kind of standing around doing something. I said, okay, go get me your first aid kit. Let me not talk to the lady. I said, I've been trained in first aid. Kind of went through the thing. And so they brought their first aid kit that had, oh God, I don't know what in it, but it had enough stuff in it to wrap her foot up, and wrapped her foot up, tied the bow with the gauze wrap the way you're supposed to tie it, and followed up later. And she said, yeah, when she got to the emergency room, the doctor said, hey, whoever did that did a good job. So I remembered what I was supposed to be doing. So yeah, it was actually kind of fun. All right, so we're going to close the poll here, and you guys got the right answer. 96% of you said compression, airway, and breathing. All right, good job.
By the way, during these polls, you're not supposed to go to your phone and look it up. Okay, yeah. We need you to kind of go through it and just.
All right, here's the next one. Going out. What do you do before starting CPR? This is a trick question, guys. I'm going to tell you. This is actually a trick question. So we're going to check and see if the patient's responding. We're going to assign someone to call 911. We're going to assign someone to locate a defibrillator, or we're going to assign someone to find the first aid kit. And we're getting a pretty good mix of questions in here. Okay, let's see.
By the way, during CPR, they also trained us on using the defibrillator. So that's probably a little hint there as to the answer. But we got the defibrillator training, which if you haven't been through that, it's pretty simple. But you still need to be trained in it. So I think it's real important.
All right, here we go. Okay, we're going to close the poll. And we had 65% say check and see if the patient's responsive. 46% assigned someone to call 911. 31% said to locate the defibrillator. And 19% to assign to someone to find the first aid kit. The actual answer is?
All of them.
All of them. So you guys, I know you're probably, kind of trying to fight that one to figure out which one was the right answer. But good job weighing in there. But the number one thing, once you assign everybody else's, you want to make sure the person's responsive. You certainly don't want to start whacking on their chest if they're asleep. That would kind of be a little bit of problem. So nudging them and getting close to their ear and making some noise, and is a good effort there to see if they actually need CPR.
Make sure you call 911.
Yeah, and then you can also lean your head over and look for the chest rising and falling, which is another indication. If it's not happening, they're not breathing. And if you can check the pulse, that would be another indication as well.
So you think we got time for one more?
Yep, we got no. Let me let's oops. Let me hit the wrong button. Sorry. Let's see. Coming on here. All right. Here's on the number of compressions you're supposed to do per minute. All right.
And this is chest compressions.
Chest compression.
How many number of chest compressions do you do per minute?
All right.
So.
Yeah, you guys are close. We've got the first one's 8 to 10, second one's 50 to 75. We get 100 to 200, and one person says as many as it takes. So, well, I think we may need some remedial education on this one here, Chuck. We're getting a pretty good distribution. I'm going to go ahead and close that poll. The proper answer is 100 to 120.
Yep.
And a good rule of thumb is to play what song in your head?
Staying Alive.
Staying Alive.
By the Bee Gees.
By the Bee Gees. Staying Alive is the right beat for about 100 compressions per minute. Good job, guys. All right. Let's see. Another one. Which is more important when performing CPR? This is 2 questions. And it should be out. Compressions or rescue breaths? Which one is most important? Now, this is one we talked about earlier as we were kind of spooling up. This is one has changed over the years, and it's kind of flipped back and forth. But I think most of you guys, we got about 90% of you that are saying compressions. And that is the current philosophy on this, though it does seem to change. Oops, actually, we're getting some more rescue breaths now that I said that. The current philosophy, as taught to us last week, was compressions are most important. The 30 cycles or 30 compressions, and then 2 rescue breaths if you're able to do it. But it's that they want to make sure that they're getting the compression. So if there's an issue, just keep on doing the compressions until help arrives. So, all right, which should be the next question that I just gave you the answer. Okay, when should you start using an external defibrillator? Only if CPR doesn't work, or as soon as possible? Let's see what we get here.
Yeah. And again, they're pretty easy to operate. But again, if you've never seen one and never been in one, you need to get trained on it, because again, it does save lives.
Yeah, and the whole stress inoculation thing is it's very simple commands as you're going through it. Okay, good job, guys. We're about split here on this one. We had 48% saying if CPR doesn't work, and 52% says as soon as possible. It is as soon as possible. That is the correct answer.
Okay.
And I think we got one more. No, 2 more real quick ones.
All right, real quick.
When should you stop CPR? After 10 minutes, when the person stops turning blue, or when the EMS called by 911 arrives on the scene and takes control. And you guys nailed it, 100%.
There you go.
100%. Good job, everybody. Okay, last one. This is the fire extinguisher one. Okay, real quick. Chuck's giving me the hairy eyeball. Okay. What does PASS stand for when you're talking about a fire extinguisher? Press, aim, squeeze, and swing. Pull, aim, swing, and sweep. Pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. This is using a fire extinguisher. Actually, we got to play in the parking lot and shoot down cones with it.
Yeah.
Had dueling fire extinguishers out there last week. And the proper answer is pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. Very good. And we appreciate it. Thank you for playing today. You're all winners in our eyes. And, and hopefully we can get our camera back here. I don't know what happened to it. Got to close the poll. Poll must be closed. And hopefully we'll get the
Well, we tried something new anyway
There we go.
to engage.
There we go. Now we're back. Now we're back. All right. All right, Chuck, let's go ahead and get started.
All right. So we have Justin Word, Lloyd Chance with the CTRMA here with us today. Justin's going to go through and discuss the projects that they currently have ongoing and the projects that they have coming up. He has a really great PowerPoint presentation. He gave me a full page bio, which I am not going to read, Justin, just to let you know. But you've done a lot of stuff. I mean, if I had to take one sentence out of this bio that you have, is that that you had successful delivery of these projects because of the partnerships and the development of the with the contracting community. In other words, you're a big promoter, and again with the AGC, to involve the contracting community and partner with them to be able to get these projects constructed on time and hopefully within budget. And again, you're over what, $2 billion? Is it a $2 billion setup for planning and construction with maintenance?
Yeah, we're actually just in planning right now. You could probably get close to 2 billion, and we've got about $1 billion going in construction right now.
Great. And I do know this, and we've had Lloyd on earlier talking about your State Highway 45 project, and both you and Lloyd both have this way of communicating what you guys expect and working with the contractor, and I really appreciate that. And there's no doubt that that's the reason why that particular project was so successful. And you won several awards. You won what, 10 awards for that project, the State Highway 45 project. Wow. So
I think we're working on a dozen, but yeah, we're at 10 at Lloyd today.
Well, I'm going to announce right now that you did win a TXAPA award for quality pavements. And so yes, you did do yeah, you guys won an award there for the quality pavement. So as a matter of fact, we have a video of that evaluation that Jim Warren and I did.
Awesome.
So that video is online. It'll be on the YouTube channel. And if anybody wants to see how we evaluate roadways and how we make a judgment on them and how we score the roadways, go to that YouTube channel. It's about an hour long, but we evaluated that project and you scored very high on it. And again, so you won a TXAPA award, you won a NAPA award last year, and then I really enjoy the fact that you won the Green Project of the Year award with ENR. I mean, that's got to be a big feather in your hat.
It's awesome to, when you're doing those things, you don't understand or think about the gravity of what you're doing or how impactful it can be around the nation. So it was really cool to be recognized on an ENR level for that.
Yeah, that's really great. And again, Lloyd, I think you did a great job in being able to help design a project that was going to win an award. And it starts at design, Lloyd, right?
You're exactly right, Chuck. It takes a lot of thought and experience going into the design of a project to make it successful on the construction end, on the back end. So having people like our GEC and our consultants that we have that help us with our projects, they use the experience that we have on different projects to include lessons learned and best practices to help us get into a better spot to win awards and do great things on projects like State Highway 45.
Well, congratulations again. You will be notified, and we will be putting together a program with that. Jim, when is that awards program going to be? In
29th of September or 28th or 20th, the last Tuesday in September.
So you guys will be invited to be able to watch a pretty nice awards program that Jim's putting together. So let's go ahead and get this thing kicked off. Justin, if you would, you gave us a little PowerPoint presentation and kind of just walk through it. And I thought it was a great presentation. You cover a lot of ground in a little bit of time. So go ahead and get this thing kicked off.
Sure, thank you for that. And I did want to say, really appreciate the award. I know Lloyd has, I want to say he's coveted that award for probably 3 decades now. And it's a big deal for us winning this award. So we're very happy. Lloyd didn't scream out, I did, but I'm telling you, he's screaming inside. So thank you all very much for that. That's a big deal for us.
Absolutely.
So I just want to hit on, before we dive into the slides too much, just sort of the state of the RMA. I know with everything going on in the world around us, and this the COVID situation has really been an interesting challenge for agencies like ours and really around the nation. We have come through it pretty well overall. I think early on there was rumors of our demise, and I think being an agency that lives directly off what we capture in toll revenue is a pretty challenging place to be sometimes, particularly when we're impacted so surprisingly. So we got down significantly in the April-May timeframe. We were down almost 60% on revenue, which is a big deal when you see those sorts of drops in a matter of weeks. And so thankfully our board has a very conservative fiscal policy and put a lot of money away for a rainy day, and the rain came. So we were ready, and we've weathered it nicely. As of this morning, I checked with our finance group, and we're now down year over year only 19%.
Well, not bad.
It's kind of a funny thing to say, only 19%. I mean, that would be a disaster most years, but
better than
sounds really good compared to
70%.
60%.
Yep.
Yeah, and so I've been on some calls around the nation with some of the leading bankers and financiers, and one of them from a big shop, I would know the name if I could say it, said, I've been on the phone with 40 agencies over the last 30 days, and you guys are in the best shape out of those 40 around the nation that we've talked to.
Congratulations.
Some folks are still down 90%. Transit agencies in particular are really struggling right now. So I count us as very fortunate, and the fact that we can continue the bulk of our program unabated is a real blessing for us. So
that's great.
With that, I just want to give a rough state there, and we can get rolling here on the projects in development. But as you guys have mentioned, I welcome you guys' questions while we're going through the slides. Just jump in and ask me as we go along. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. All right, so starting at the top, 183 North, this is a managed lane project that's currently in the procurement phase. We're going to build a total of 6 lanes out here, 3 in each direction. 2 of them will be managed lanes, express lanes in the center of the existing median, and then we'll complete a 4th general purpose lane in each direction. So by the time we're done out there, there will be 4 general purpose non-toll lanes each direction and 2 managed lanes. And that's going to go from MoPac in the south all the way up to State Highway 45 RM 620 in the north, about 8 miles. That's a design build project. Design build price is in the $400 million range. That's our developer cost. We actually received about 9 days ago on August 18th final proposals on that. So we are in the throes of evaluating those proposals. And if you want to go to the next slide, we just got a list here of the 3 shortlisted proposers that put proposals in with us. So over the next 6 to 8 weeks, we'll be going through the technical evaluation and then coming to my board sometime late in the fall with a recommendation for award on that project.
So
that's it.
So I don't think you're going to get your answer.
You don't think I'm going to? So before we started, I told Justin I was going to ask him a question that was going to stump him. He goes, "No, I got it." So you can't.
Well, hang on now. Let's qualify that.
You can't.
I said you can try, and I'll just pivot on you. So.
Well, it's. I know that you received them August 18th, so you're not going to. Nobody knows until when on who's going to be able to construct that, right? Is 3 weeks, 4 weeks,
6 weeks,
6 weeks. So,
well, we'll know when I bring the item to the board for award. Okay. So that's when it will be officially announced. And it's design build, so it's a best value selection.
Right.
70% price, 30% qualifications. Those scores were put together, and then that's presented to the board for their acceptance or rejection.
Okay.
So it'll be a board meeting, be that October, November, or sometime down the road.
All right.
One thing I wanted to say that's a partial answer to that question. There's been a lot of questions concerning managed lanes. and 183 North here is a managed lane project. Well, as I'm sure most of the audience knows, managed lanes are congestion driven. Right? If you don't need them, you don't use them. And right now, for example, on our MoPac North express lanes, where we're only down overall 19% on revenue overall in our facility, overall facilities, MoPac is down still on the order of 90% on revenue.
Wow.
There's just not enough traffic on MoPac to compel folks to want to use the lane. So that really impacts all of our managed lane projects. I'm going to talk about MoPac South here in a minute. But that's something that's going to have to be weighed and looked at financeability of these projects going forward. And so that's also part of what we're looking at as an agency. When you look 3, 5, 10 years out, will managed lanes be needed? I think all of the experts agree that we're going to return to a state of, unfortunately, we're going to return to a state of congestion and that managed lanes will make sense. But here in the short term, managed lanes around the nation are struggling to kind of find themselves right now.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Next slide, please.
There you go.
Our second big project in the hopper is the 183A Phase 3 project, and this is quite simply an extension of our existing 183 toll lanes from where they terminate about Hero Way, roughly 6 miles to just north of State Highway 29. So if you've driven out there, you may have seen there's frontage roads. They're pushed out to the edges of a widened right-of-way. We're taking this road straight up the middle. Relatively straightforward, but pretty good sized project, 180 million or so estimated construction cost. We are doing this one design bid build, traditionally let.
How many miles is that? How many miles is that?
Right at 6.
Okay. Okay. Very good.
6.
Good deal. Good deal. Looking good. That's a bit nice project.
Yep.
Yep. It will be a very nice project.
Hey, just a reminder to go ahead and type your questions in anytime. Our panel will take them, and we want to make sure you get your answers. So please go ahead and get your questions in. All right. MoPac South.
MoPac South. It's a sort of a sister project to 183 North. This will connect from our existing managed lanes in the north around the Cesar Chavez area down to Slaughter. Right now, this project is in the, I would say, early development stage. We've gone through it. It's been on the books for a number of years, and it's still on our books to move forward, but it's sort of on a slower path than 183 North, but that one will be a big one. I don't have exact dollars, but it will probably almost certainly eclipse 183 North as far as cost. And we are working right now quietly in the background on this one as we prepare to go to open houses in 2021. And also as we gain some clarity on managed lanes and how they're going to be rolled out in the future. So look for more in 2021 on this one. Okay. And the scope is generally 2 managed lanes in each direction. So we'll add a total of 4 lanes out there.
Wow. Good deal. Good deal. All right. Travis County, Ross Road.
Switching gears, Travis County. So we have had partnerships in the past with Travis County. And as a matter of fact, Travis County is one of our 2 founding counties that make up the RMA and has 3 of our 7 board members that they appoint. So we work closely with Travis County. These projects we're working even more closely now. We've helped have one project we built for them in the past. We were able to hit an aggressive schedule. They reached out to us, asked if it was a safety project and high priority. We helped them. We got it knocked out on schedule and actually gave them back about 15% of the budget on that one. So
nice.
They came back to us. We've got a total now of 8 projects that we're developing for them.
Good.
Generally, if in the southeast quadrant of Travis County, and if you'll jump to the next slide, I'll talk to them really more in general here.
Okay.
That we're working on the southeast quadrant. Again, this is an area that hasn't seen as much roadway development in the past, but Tesla, right? I mean, between 183 South and announcements like Tesla, this area is undergoing tremendous growth and a lot of development. And so they are starting to invest heavily, and it's becoming a really top priority for safety. There's a lot of drainage and other issues out here. So we've committed to work with the county on these projects to help them deliver them on the bond program. And so you'll be seeing these come through the RMA. Travis County has handed them the keys over to us, and we are delivering them through our program, with the only exception being that the county's handling right-of-way acquisition and as far as using their eminent domain, and they are paying for utilities, but otherwise RMA, it's an RMA project. So you'll see these coming out in the coming 2 or 3 years. Okay. A little different for us, right? I mean, we've usually been big flywheel type projects in the past and done big stuff. So this is a little bit of a departure, and I think we'll feed a little different part of the market than we usually do. So I'm really happy to be able to do that and get some involvement from some of the smaller players in the industry.
Hey, Justin, are these going to be coming out at the same time, or are these going to be coming out, staged, or is there a plan for that yet that you know?
The plan is to get them out of the door as soon as we can.
Okay. Gotcha.
So we've got schedules. What's driving, you can see down there at the bottom, utilities and right of way are driving the schedules. So we've been, as a practice, as an agency, we really invest a lot of money in SUE work. It's routine for us to do A through D work at the preliminary stage when we're planning projects. So we know as much as we can about utilities. We're doing a lot of that here, and I think the relocation of those facilities is probably going to take, and Lloyd can jump in here, I would think we're probably a year or two depending on these facilities. So you're going to see kind of a slow roll and sort of if we can bundle them, we will. I would like to think that that's going to happen, but Murphy's Law, right? So we may get 1 or 2 or 3 we put together to try to get more competitive bids, but generally they're going to roll out over the next probably 24 to 36 months.
So these are all going to be hard
modifications to that.
Yes.
No, you're exactly right, Justin. Chuck, we've worked on a lot of projects together.
Yeah.
These little ones can be just as fun as the big ones sometimes as far as getting things cleared and out of the way and ready for you to build something. So we need to take a little bit of time to make sure we're in a good spot to be ready to release these to the contractors and be able to build them efficiently. So that's what we'll be working on.
Great. So who's going to take over maintenance on them after they're completed? Is it back to Travis County, or do y'all bundle that maintenance section also?
No, we're their consultant, if you will, not really consultant, but acting as a partner agency. And when we open it, we will hand the keys back to them.
Okay.
And they will maintain it under their usual program.
Okay.
Got a question that just came in, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Let's see. Why did you decide to do these in 6 projects, and why not bundle them all as as an alternative, I guess? Why are you doing these? Why did you decide to do these 6 projects? Why did you not just bundle them all as one big project?
I think the primary reason for handing them to us was the ability, the confidence the county had in getting them done as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. And they really want to see them on the ground as soon as possible, even individually. And so that's driven us to, we understand economies of scale and trying to bundle them in a way that does the best for prices. But on the other hand, we have folks out here being stranded during significant water events, rain events. So we're going to balance those 2 things, but the county really wants these things on the ground. And so that's probably going to push us more to bundle them for convenience as they come online. But it's really going to be get them out there on the ground as soon as possible.
Gotcha.
And that's the overarching drive.
Good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you, Mo, for the question. You ready to move on?
Yes.
Okay. There you go. Barton Skyway ramp.
All right, so this is a project that's on temporary hold, but this was really a bottleneck project that the RMA identified with TxDOT. This is southbound MoPac, so this is just off the end of our southbound existing MoPac express lanes. We're going to do some ramping work between Barton Skyway and Loop 360. Fairly small project for us. I mean, that's the beauty of this project at $7 million construction cost. It will really address some ramping issues and some turbulence issues in this area that will have a positive impact on the upstream performance of both the managed lanes and the TxDOT general purpose lanes. So the board, I guess the genesis of this project was the board and engineering identifying, hey, we got, this thing isn't performing like we want. Right? I mean, the express lanes, it's frustrating to pay money and then come to a screeching halt at the end of the express lane.
Yep. Sure.
So we really pushed the team, and we're looking at interchange options there at the river, and sort of had the epiphany, hey, we really need to go downstream and see if we can uncork this bottleneck. And that's exactly what we're doing with this project. And until COVID, we were full steam ahead. I think once you see the express lane traffic pick back up, and we use those funds from the express lane revenue to fund this project. Well, right now, as I mentioned earlier, those are down something like 90%. So that's why this project went on hold. But 6 months, a year from now, something like that, whenever somebody smarter than me out there can tell me when traffic's coming back, when that happens, we will turn around and restart this project, and it'll be coming out of the RMA within probably a year of restart, maybe shorter.
And it will happen.
It will happen.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, both the traffic and this project.
Yeah, both. Well, the traffic for sure, man. I'm telling you. So you kind of did the same thing up there on 290 with the one of those direct connects. Y'all built that at a later phase, correct? Over there toward Manor. Did y'all build a direct connect after y'all completed the project?
Yeah, we're in the middle of that right now. That's one that's keeping Lloyd busy is the 290-130 interchange. We're actually building 3 direct connectors right now. We've opened 2. I think the last one we opened in July, and the third and final, which is actually in partnership with TxDOT. That is going to be their direct connector, but we are building it on their behalf with their funding. Will open hopefully by the end of this year, early next.
Great.
So, yep, same thing.
Good deal.
And Manor Phase 4.
All right, so I can barely see the little screen there, so I'll have to fill in the blanks here. But this is a prospective project. This is one that's been on the radar for the CTRMA as far as a priority corridor. And we built 2 phases out here that gets us basically to Palmer Lane. Well, now we're looking at the next extensions of the 290 toll facility. This would take us conceivably all the way out to State Highway 95 north in Elgin, about an 11-mile freeway project. And so I recently got approval from our board to do a toll feasibility study, which is essentially the highest level back and napkin type study we do, just to see if there are, the potential rough order magnitude costs, and then what might be generated revenue-wise, and then run that through our financial models and see if the project warrants a further investigation, including even going into the NEPA and schematic process. So very exciting. I've been hoping for this one about 3 years, working on it internally, and I think we are starting to move this forward. And I think if you've driven that corridor, at least pre-COVID, you know that it is congested.
Very crowded.
And the challenge for us as an agency is that on these projects, we talk about TNR a little bit, a little sidebar here. We don't have taxing authority. We don't get sales tax. We don't get property tax. The only revenue we receive is off of our toll facilities. So when we look at facilities like this, we really need them to stand on their own. They need to be able to pay for themselves over the life of our bonding. And so this is one of those corridors where we have a proven facility. It's working well, and we think the traffic numbers are going to get up there at least to get us to 973 on the other side of Manor. And then maybe a subsequent phase we would get all the way out to Elgin. State Highway 95 North. So it's that sort of analysis we're looking at. Will this thing pay for itself? And if now's the time, then it's go time for this project. So more to come on that one. That'll be that project probably will start with a B. I think it'll be north of $1 billion for that project. Wow. So that'll be a good one.
Wow, good deal. Next.
All right, let's see.
I think just hit real quickly on some maintenance projects for the viewers that aren't as familiar with RMA. We're really pretty new agency, started in 2003, I believe. I've been with the agency about 6 years now, but we're just starting to really get into a time where maintenance is becoming, and by maintenance I mean rehab type work, is becoming more of a operation for us. So you're going to see more of these type maintenance projects. These aren't big projects right now. Sign replacements. We are going to do an overlay, mill and overlay on 183A, which is actually, I think it's estimated at $7 or $8 million. So again, not big, but you're going to see a more of a program of R&R type maintenance projects coming out of the agency. And this additional signing, striping, landscape improvements on MoPac, again, probably a $1 million contract. But expect this pace to start filling up in the coming years as we move to a more mature system.
Okay.
Good deal.
And I think, and this is just for audience convenience and rolling all that together and cost and dates and delivery methods. So I think that wraps it up for me.
Yep, that's all the slides I've got. Yep.
All right. Okay. Well, Justin, thanks a lot for walking through that with us. And of course, Absolutely. We'll have that PowerPoint online so that anybody wants it. And of course, you'll be getting a copy of this through YouTube again. And we'll keep a copy of that presentation available to anybody who might want it. Maybe put it on our website, Jim. What do you think?
And, we can certainly put it on there.
So that way individuals can go back and take a look at it. Justin and Lloyd, I got a couple of quick questions to discuss with you. You have these projects going on, and I know we talked about flexible. Some of your pavement structures are flexible pavements. Some of them are rigid. You have the concrete section up there on 290, and then you get the flexible pavement section on MoPac. Walk through real quick. Do you guys use a life cycle cost analysis? And if so, do you use your own, or do you use the one that TxDOT has established? I guess TxDOT redid their life cycle cost analysis last year. I believe it was last year, maybe the year before. But which program do you use, or do y'all use one?
I'll tackle the life cycle first, and we'll go back to sort of material selection. So we do it differently than TxDOT. We don't currently use their program.
Okay.
Going back to how we finance our projects, we have to go out and get bonds, and to do that, we put together a package of a financing package, and part of that we have to look at operations and maintenance costs, and we have to look at R&R. So a big part of our drive is, and we don't just do it for the project we're going for or trying to get money for. We also look at our current O&M and R&R program, what those projected 30 to 50-year costs are going to be.
Right.
So we come at it maybe from a little different angle, in that we have to justify that the project is part of the equation, right, for figuring if we have adequate coverage on our bond issuance, that we account for all those costs early on. So we do have our own, I'll call it a proprietary model, where we look at those costs on a life cycle analysis. and that's all laid in with the time value of money and bringing that all back to present value. So we do our best to do an apples and apples, both from a financing standpoint, and then we'll look at when we're doing comparative looks at concrete or asphalt pavement as well. I don't know the TXAPA system well, and I'll admit to the audience, I'm not a pavement design expert by any means. I know enough, like many, to be dangerous, but we do the time value of money and the overall life cycle costs drive many of our decisions.
Okay. So you mentioned the overlay of 183A coming up. When was 183A completed? Do you have that off the top of your head? Like the year that it was completed?
I believe phase one, the first segment was 2007, and I think phase two, I believe, was 2013.
So okay. That and that goes back into that time versus money and coming back and
Right.
doing the overlay on. So it sounds like that you got your 10 years, 8 years, 10 years, almost 10 years out of that.
Yeah, we're going to end up around 8 or 9 years out of that.
Good.
And that's generally what we plug in. Just for planning purposes, I generally assume some we do 10. I think on that corridor, the underlying geology supports, we see good stable soils in that
Right.
area, so we generally get closer to the 10. You get in the 290 area, not so much, right?
Yeah.
Some of those highly plastic, highly reactive soils there don't give us as much time.
Yeah. So that kind of leads me into the next the question with, and again, we're TXAPA, and we've been dealing with
Right.
the new specifications. So with this coming up, we do know that the new specifications have been developed to be able to give us an extra year or 2 or 3 of additional life services before we have to do any type of maintenance. So you guys are following TxDOT specifications correctly. When you're building a project, you're following TxDOT specifications.
That's correct.
Okay, so that brings us into the new specifications for hot mix. Are you going to utilize those new specifications on these projects, especially the ones that I guess the new specs went in February, Jim?
Yeah, February.
So we started
3077, 3076.
So we started with dense graded and super pave, and now we're reviewing SMAs and tom mixes and PFCs right now, and probably we'll have that review done by the end of the year to where they'd be utilized next year into 2021. So I guess my question is are you involved at all with the new specifications? Do y'all have any idea, knowledge of the new specifications?
I'll speak for myself. I have not read the new specs, so I'm not familiar with them. But I will say generally that we work in the same corridors.
Yep.
We often share monies with the department. They pay for non-tolled elements, and we pay for tolled elements. So almost certainly we'll use the new specifications. Lloyd, you may have a little more info on that.
Yeah, Chuck, it kind of depends on when our lighting schedule is and when we're putting a project out to market. Right. But yeah, we're tied at the hip with TxDOT about specifications. So if the timing's right, when those things are released for lighting in a new project, they would be included.
Yeah, and they're rewriting the whole book, right? They're slating that for next year, I believe, to be done. Yeah. So I just see all this stuff coming together, and different agencies, not only you guys, but different cities and different counties also, piggyback on TxDOT specs. And I think you're going to be real surprised. I think we've got some really good specifications out there. We're getting more oil into the mix.
Yep, that's going to help.
We're paying attention to adhesion. We're paying attention to temperatures. Yeah, tack coats, temperatures. And so just to throw that out there, Lloyd, at any time that you guys want a review, Jim and I have put together it's about a 2-hour process, hour and a half, 2-hour process on reviewing the new specifications, exactly what they added and what they're trying to accomplish. And the materials and test division over there, Travis Patton and Ryan Barbarack and Miles and those guys, they've done a really good job. And I think you're going to be real surprised. I think I know we're going to get more years of quality life out of our pavement structures with the new specification.
Yep.
So
Jeff, let me know when you're ready. I'd be excited and happy to attend.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome. We'll set it up.
Yeah. So Yeah, and I know that the new spec book is coming out, and it's going to be coming out, and I just see this all accumulating into this big old huge deal where, again, other entities utilize TxDOT's specifications, and it's going to be interesting to say the least. So, but yeah, great deal. So on your go ahead.
I was just going to add, Jack, what's interesting is our policy code actually dictates that we use TxDOT standards. So we are literally tied at the hip with the department, and it really goes to selection. I'm sure we'll talk about that in a little while, but we are usually, with one exception, we've been in TxDOT right away, and normally we're widening or rebuilding their facilities. So it's really a combined effort between the Austin district and RMA staff when we start talking about pavement selection and the appropriate material and structure. So we can get into more of that in a minute if you'd like to, but we have quite a few folks involved in that decision making.
Great. And by the way, when's y'all's fiscal year? Do y'all follow TxDOT same time frame for fiscal year?
Of course not. No, we all have to have a different fiscal year for some reason. Our fiscal year begins July 1.
July, okay. And then one other thing, you talked about maintenance, and I know you have this performance-based maintenance contract. About how big is that maintenance contract? And is it every 3 years, every 5 years, every year?
Right.
When is the time frame for that, and the size of that, and what does it actually encompass?
It's a 5-year contract with 2 5-year re-ups, so we can have up to a 15-year contract. The first term of it is 5 years. We just re-upped it in June, just a couple of months ago, and it is a combined contract with TxDOT on our shared corridors. Like I said, we live in the same corridors with TxDOT in their corridors. So in 2015, we actually reversed. We were actually piggybacking the TxDOT contract, and we said, hey, how about, since on a lot of these we have the main lanes and you don't have frontage roads, it makes sense maybe the RMA should administer it, and worked a deal with TxDOT, and it worked out really well that from 2015 to 2020 we oversaw that PBMC and administered it. Now it worked well enough that they agreed to that arrangement again. We just re-procured, got that under contract in June. The grand total for 5 years for both agencies is $50 million for that contract. They're in for about 16, and we're in for the remainder of that. So it's a pretty significant contract, and it covers really all what I'll call routine type maintenance. It's not rehabilitation or replacement projects, but guardrail, trash, all the usuals, keeping the landscaping, mowing, those type items are covered under this performance base. Would not involve, outside of spot repairs, it would not involve probably the stuff you're most interested in, asphalt, right? We would do that under a separate maintenance contract. For example, like we're doing on 183A frontage roads, we'll let a separate project to do that.
For that. Yeah, that's a big number. I know that when I think I've heard that number before, and it's just amazing to me, that size of a contract for maintenance. And it doesn't include, like you said, it doesn't include like the rehabs or any of that. It's just the maintenance of a roadway section. So
yeah, I think that's we've done analysis, and I've seen other studies, but you spend over a typical life cycle of a project 2 to 3 times as much maintaining it as the capital costs to build it.
Wow.
And that's evident here, right? Just keeping the thing clean, looking good, fixing guardrail, mode, for the RMA, for our whole system, it's $34 million over 5 years, and that doesn't get you anything really, no new pavement.
Yeah,
so
that's amazing.
It's an expensive proposition.
Yeah, when I heard that number, I was just amazed by it, and it was like I just blew me away on how much money it costs. Just like you said, just do the general maintenance and not any of the overlays or anything like that. So
correct.
Well, it looks like we're running down on some time. Is there anything that that you guys would like to comment on, discuss with Jim and I, or is there any other questions that are out there in the
Well, I've got one. I've
Okay.
got one with Tesla coming in. You know, they were trying to do the big tunnel out in California. Have they inquired to you guys about building a tunnel in Austin yet?
One I can't answer. There you go. Well done.
Or he's not going to answer. It's probably they're probably already working on
I
it.
could tell you, but then you know the rest
Yeah,
of it.
I know.
Well, I do have to say this is that it's been a great time working with Lloyd. We've done a lot of projects together. I like to sit here and talk about glory days, and can do it all day long. Friday mornings at breakfast at Jim's, we used to get there about 6:30 in the morning and do glory days about all the work we did together and built together. Lloyd, I really appreciate not only the friendship, but the fact that you really work together with the contracting community to do the best, for the system. I really appreciate the fact that you've always been like that. You've always had that open mind, that open communication. And again, you started on 45 from the ground up. You started with design, and that proved that if you design it and you manage it correctly, you can have an award-winning project. And I really do appreciate that. And Justin, again, thank you for taking your time for being here. And again, all this stuff will be posted on YouTube. Plus, we'll have the presentation on our webpage.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Sir.
Awesome. Well, if y'all don't mind, I'd love to add on to what you're saying. I like to give the Associated General Contractors a plug here. They've been a great partner. I think we've had a joint committee with them for about 3 years now. The first few meetings were fun. We had some, I'm going to call them spirited discussions, and they led to some real changes for the better.
Yeah.
And
Good.
And that helped AGC, and we got helped by people wanting to do our work, and they have really stepped up the competition, and they're delivering for us. And it's not lip service. I mean, we can't build these jobs without them. And I'll give a special shout out to McCarthy on 45. I mean, Lloyd and McCarthy worked together, and a lot of other folks, the whole team, won the IPI Partnering Award in the non-facilitated category, right? It was the oddball out. Lloyd didn't even, and McCarthy didn't need somebody there telling them to work together. They worked together. And we got today's award, which awesome. That's just further affirmation that if we work together as a team, it actually works, right? So that's the attitude we take, and it's been very productive for us. I want to give Lloyd some credit. He's one of those guys out there that keeps that open mind and helps this agency look good. So thank you, Lloyd.
So Chuck, I also want to tell you thank you as well too. That award on 45, those are not done in a vacuum. They're done by a group of people, a team of people working on a project together. And I want to go back to something to give your group some credit for that. Before our paving started on the final part of that project, you invited me to come attend a group session with TxDOT and myself and some other people. And we talked about one thing that's hugely important that I want to go back to about winning that award, and that's your prepaid meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I went back with somewhat of a completely different attitude about our prepaid meeting when we got ready to pave our PFC on 45. And we had a very collaborative, very open, very partnership-related discussion. And I will tell you that I truly believe that with what I learned from your seminar and what we took back to the job and talked to McCarthy about and Austin Materials about made all the difference in the world of winning that award.
That's awesome.
So thank you. Really appreciate it.
That's awesome.
That's great. That is. And prepaid meetings and all hands meetings, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that later on in the year, but those are so important. And you're right, Lloyd. So congrats again. Congratulations, and be looking for the invite to be able to see our awards meeting that Jim's putting together. I think it's going to be pretty slick.
Yep.
Jim, you do a good job with all this. Really appreciate it. So
Glad to help.
great.
Glad to help. All right, so we wrapped up. We're
I'm
about
good.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have any more questions in the hopper, and let me do a little wrap up here. Hey, just a reminder to subscribe to TXAPA's YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, type in Texas Asphalt Pavement, and click on the TXAPA logo, and that'll get you to the subscribe button. Go ahead and turn on the notifications so any new videos that come up, we'll be doing that. And Jenna's been very active putting up a lot of our old videos and a lot of our old programs on there. So please look at the videos, like them, share them. We'd really like to see some traffic there. So I checked earlier, we got a few already. So we're expecting. I need you guys to get on there and to go ahead and subscribe today, so I don't have to buy lunch. So I'm not sure if she's buying lunch. I don't know. We're all buying lunch probably. Who knows? But having wings this Friday. If you're by TXAPA, come on by. Having gonna have some wings, I think. So very good, very good. So I think that's it for today. We appreciate everybody dialing in at 45, 47 people on board, and we are glad to have you guys here. Please remember to share this video when you see it. You'll get a link to it from us directly. But do remember, all these are posted on the TexasAsphaltPavement.org website, and now will also be posted on YouTube. So never an opportunity to miss getting to see our stuff and our bright, shiny faces or whatever that is. So big thanks to Chuck, to Lloyd, to Justin today. Great program. We're off next week, but starting in September, we start our fall focus, and we've got a chock full of programs on Tuesdays and Thursdays all month long. That's kind of our substitute for doing our annual meeting. But we've got a lot of programs coming on. You should be getting an email invite for that to let you know everything that's going on. But you can always go to TexasAsphalt.org and click on the appropriate links, and it'll tell you what's coming up, what's coming down the pike, and we'll be glad to have you guys join us. So I'm going to get out of here, and I'll leave you guys be and let you get back to work. Please be safe out there. Remember to stay hydrated. Remember your CPR rules and your how to use a fire extinguisher. Be safe and ever forward. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye now.